it's this really stark example of the fact that starvation mode can't possibly mean that you just eat very little food and you fail to lose weight. And if you eat just a little bit of food, still very little, you just gain weight like crazy. I wish that would make, the UN's efforts to combat debilitating poverty much easier. You just throw someone one candy bar and like, boom, 500 pounds. That does not happen. Bikini competitors will say, as soon as they eat a candy bar, I blow up like crazy. Not sure if that's true. Hey folks, Dr. Mike here for RP Strength, and today's video is to ask the question, is starvation mode actually a myth, or is there something to that shit? Let's find out. So what is starvation mode as is classically presented? It is the idea that when your body is bereft of adequate calories for some time, usually a long time, months, it begins to behave substantially differently. You might have a different metabolic rate, which is to say something radically lower. You might have a different level of activity, which means you're basically stapled to your chair or your sofa, and getting up seems like you're lifting the whole world. You have a different probability of fat storage versus muscle gain, which is to say that if you're in starvation mode, you don't gain any muscle, and anytime you eat food, you just go straight to fat because your body's like, holy shit, I need that to survive. Different hunger levels, which is to say radical and insane hunger. And at the very extremes of this claim, perpetuated by some people in the fitness industry, starvation mode is really treated as a discrete mode, kind of walled off from the rest of existence. And there, it's a completely different mode of metabolic operation. Sometimes people say your metabolism is broken, your metabolism is damaged. And in that mode, there's no progress that can be had on additional fat loss until that mode is exited from, until it's resolved. And thus never get into starvation mode or get out of it as soon as you get into it seems like reasonable advice. Another thing that people observe is that weight loss, no matter the calories you're taking in, they could be ultra, ultra low, begins to become impossible. And seemingly also contradictory to reality, you can be on a hypocaloric diet that has fewer calories than you need every day and still gain weight. There are many of these claims being made by people who think starvation mode is a real thing. A very discrete mode. Now, on the other end, you have evidence-based folks who claim that starvation mode is a myth. It's not a real thing. They know the literature well, and they've seen that in the scientific literature, there is no discrete cutoff for something called starvation mode. And they have a lot of really good points, more good than bad. It turns out that evidence-based folks are correct. For example, you cannot gain net total tissue in a hypocaloric diet. So if someone says, I've been eating 600 calories a day and I've been gaining weight, something really, really funky is going on. 99% of the time, they're just lying about how much they eat. The rest of the 1% of the time, some crazy body water stuff is happening. You better get to the fucking hospital sooner than later. But it's insanely unusual. And because the reality is, if you cut your calories for long enough, low enough, you will lose weight. People say starvation mode is what your body activates when you're starving, and then it prevents you from losing weight. How does that work out for people in actual famines? It doesn't. They lose weight until they become anorexic looking, and then they die. So I wish starvation mode was like a real thing, because then we wouldn't have to worry about, various peoples of countries that don't have functional economies that get enough people fed, and then it wouldn't have to worry about starvation. But mass starvation has been with us through all of human time. It's now essentially almost completely gone. Hopefully will be gone completely in the near future. But, it's this really stark example of the fact that starvation mode can't possibly mean that you just eat very little food and you fail to lose weight. And if you eat just a little bit of food, still very little, you just gain weight like crazy. I wish that would make, the UN's efforts to combat debilitating poverty much easier. You just throw someone one candy bar and like, boom, 500 pounds. But that does not happen. Bikini competitors will say, as soon as they eat a candy bar, I blow up like crazy. Not sure if that's true. However, there is a sense in which a more moderated version of starvation mode is not a myth. It really is a real thing. Something is definitely happening from super intense bouts and phases of a caloric deficit. Something that comes with a predictable agglomeration of signs. And ignoring these signs usually makes them worse and makes your chances of losing fat and retaining muscle that much lower. And we want to know about these. So what starvation mode really is the technical term for it is diet fatigue. Starvation mode is very high diet fatigue. And there are at least 6 signs that you might have it. Tonight at News at 11. Oh, wait. No, I'm just going to say it now. 6 signs. 1 is rabid hunger and cravings. How do you know when you're really hungry? When you're dieting and you have lettuce, nothing to dip it in, no ranch dressing, or broccoli, and you can't stop eating it. You can't stop eating raw broccoli out of the fucking bag. So on your second bag of broccoli while watching TV that's this big, you're eating raw broccoli. You need to chew on things. You watch people on TV and they're eating and you're just salivating at it. Oh my God, those people have the best lives. They get to eat pasta. Your cravings are completely insane at this point. You're like a pregnant lady craving style. You're like, I'm going to take a fucking graham cracker, I'm going to dip it into ice cream, then I'm going to put that in the microwave bin, and I'm going to put a fucking pickle on top, and it's going to be so good. People are like, are you out of your fucking mind? I guess I'm out of my fucking mind. That's what I've been trying to tell you guys. I'm not talking about like, ooh, that candy bar looks good. I'm talking about next level. About like, if that little girl with the candy bar wasn't in front of her parents and various other law agencies would be like, hey, little girl. And like, oh my God, he's going to steal my daughter. Like, I'm not going to steal your daughter. Push the daughter out of the way, get the Snickers bar. You just start eating. If the cops are beating you with a baton, I don't care. I don't care. Just feed me. Like, you're going to jail. Like, do you guys have food in jail? Like, yeah, we can get you a sandwich. Like, please just take me to jail. Like, all right, there's something really up with this person. Really gnarly hunger cravings are one of the signs that you could be into such high diet fatigue that it's less than productive for you to continue in that mode. Number 2, incredibly low energy for training and movement. During my several contest preps ago, I got to a point where walking was physically difficult, just with my own body. My legs felt insanely heavy. Getting up off the couch to go to the fridge was like this Herculean movement. And when I got to the gym, it took me like 30 minutes of warming up to start finally feel like a fucking human. No good. Because your body's like, dude, we in real dire straits. You better have a goddamn good reason for moving around. If you don't, I'm going to make sure you sit there and do nothing. Another one, and this is a really, really big one, a massive reduction in your ability to think clearly, quickly, and deeply. Or as I like to call them, the 3 C's. No, wait. CQD. Kind of like close quarters combat, except with a D at the end. I'll put a D up your end, Scott's video guy. What is our target demographic? It's just not children, is it? It's an adult channel. I like to tell people that. If you really have serious trouble thinking clearly, quickly, and deeply, aka zombie brain, with all the other signs in the constellation, looks like your diet fatigue is really high. And this is one of these things where your boss is like, you ready for that meeting tomorrow? And you're like, meeting tomorrow? He's like, yeah. Did you forget about our meeting with facilities tomorrow? You're like, so what's our meeting about? You're like, I have no idea. I don't really know who you are, what I do at this place. He's like, oh my God. Here's a sandwich. You eat the sandwich, you're like calculating equations everywhere. Like, my meeting, I've fully prepared. Actually, we don't need to meet because I fully took over facilities and I've engineered everything. And now we're 10 times richer. And he's like, holy shit, that sandwich really did something. An easy way to tell is this. For the average person, if they eat a big meal, they tend to be more chill and like kind of brain foggy, kind of groggy in a good way. And then like 30 minutes later, 45 minutes later, they get that real good energy feel for multiple hours after. If for you, all these other signs are here, that just after the meal, you're like, whoa, I can see the Matrix. And then 2 hours later, you're like a robot losing its power. Yeah, your diet fatigue might be really high. Like, each meal is like just enough energy to, it's like having a totally empty tank in your motorcycle that you're driving, but you have like an attached gallon drum and you just kind of pour gas every now and again when your bike starts to sputter. You pour a little bit more gas, get a couple more miles out of it. Do that. If that's how your meals feel, yeah, diet fatigue is pretty goddamn high. Another one, and this one is huge. Consistently reduced sleep quality, especially in the following way. You wake up earlier and earlier with no alarm clock and more nervous energy. You can't go back to sleep. Like, you wake up like this. And you're like, oh, I'm awake. And it's like 4:30 in the morning. And you're like, you might not be hungry at that point because the cortisol level, the stress hormone level is so fucking high. You don't even feel hunger. But you're like, start thinking about maybe food or getting along with your day. And here's the big kicker. You get up because you have like that nervous energy. You're like, ooh, I'm going to do chores. But then doing the chores is insanely difficult. You have total brain fog. Physically, you can't do shit. Yeah, that sucks. And remember, over the longer term, even days, good sleep burns fat and builds muscle like crazy, or supports those processes a ton. Bad sleep, shit quality, shit duration is going to make muscle retention insanely difficult and make fat loss also insanely difficult. No bueno. For me, I have multiple cutoffs of when I need to reverse out of a diet, a couple of high days of food to get the diet fatigue to drop. And for me, the last straw is 2 nights in a row of obvious, and I'm used to telling this in myself, obvious hypocalorically dependent sleep loss. If 2 nights later, I'm having bad sleep and I know it's because I'm not eating enough, back up the calories because I don't fuck with that shit.
What do you get when PhD sports scientists collaborate with pro bodybuilders? The most effective muscle growth training app ever made. Get yours now.
Another one is, it doesn't occur for all people, but for some, you're cold all the time. It's like summer and you're wearing like 8 sweatshirts. You might not even be that lean. You might be lean, but not even. A lot of people used to think, it's because you get lean, you don't have any body fat on you. Bullshit. I went quite lean, and I have pictures to prove it, to Mexico with my friends a year or 2 back. And I was like, dude, I'm like at 9% body fat, like DEXA confirmed 9%. Abs and veins and all that other shit. Scared a lot of people at the hotel gym, that's for sure. But your boy weighed 235 pounds at the time. And Mexico is really hot. And I'm really, really Caucasian, apparently. And I almost fucking had heat stroke like 3 times. I was like, I'm fucking lean. What the hell? It's just so goddamn hot. It didn't work. But I wasn't highly diet fatigued. I was in a really good place and I was eating plenty. And so I was just hot all the time. Real high diet fatigue means that a lot of times, if it's cold outside, you don't even fuck with it. Dude, I need 10 coats to go out there. And if it's warm outside, you still have a sweatshirt and a hoodie on. People are like, what the hell is wrong with you? Dude, I'm just cold all the time. That's definitely a sign in many cases that your thyroid hormone production has become lower. And that's not ideal for future fat burning, as you can probably understand. Lastly, this is the one that really fucks people mentally. As you burn more and more fat, especially in a high diet fatigue state, you store more and more incremental body water, often in the very same parts, love handles, etc., that you burn that fat from. And because you're storing more and more water and it's stress-mediated response, you might go days or even longer, a week or 2 on end, with your body weight either not falling very much, you're fucking starving, shouldn't this be falling faster? Or it stays on average roughly the same, which is really crazy. Or for the ultimate mind bend, you're gaining weight while you're eating 1,500 goddamn calories and your maintenance is supposed to be 3,000. You're not gaining tissue, you're gaining body water because the degree of stress is really insane and your body's like, bro, I don't even know what's going on. Fat is still being lost under the hood. But because it's very hard to tell visually because the body water is where the fat was, it actually jiggles more than your fat, which sucks. And because the scale isn't going down, it's insanely demotivating. I've dealt with this a whole bunch. But if you figure out like you're a bikini girl getting ready for a show and you're way over dieted and you've been dieting for 2 weeks, or rather the past 2 weeks of dieting, you've seen a 1 pound of gain and you look kind of jiggly, bro, holy crap. You're like, the hell is wrong? Something's broken in my body. It's not broken, but it's off. So starvation mode isn't real, not capital R real, but it's lowercase r, real as fuck. If you have a lot of this going on, if you have one of these signs, meh. If you have like 4 of them consistently for days and weeks on end, and you're in a tail end or somewhere in the middle of a fat loss diet, you feel that shit for real, you need weeks of either maintenance or even a slight surplus to reduce that diet fatigue back to normal, to where you can go through this whole checklist of 6 points and go, nope, maybe, nope. If that's the case, you're good. You can start doing another fat loss diet. If it's not the case, you need either more maintenance or more slow gain to take that diet fatigue and dump it basically back to 0. No rabid hunger and cravings. Decent, really good energy for training and movement. I'm thinking pretty goddamn well. No problem. No zombie brain. My sleep quality is pretty goddamn good. I'm not really excessively cold and my body water is under control. Hey, you're golden. You can do a fat loss diet. But if you're checking 4 or more of these boxes, even 3 or more, and you've been dieting hard, that's a sign your diet fatigue is so high, it's not a good idea for you to continue the fat loss diet. It's just going to be more trouble than it's worth. So yeah, starvation mode is not a myth. In a sense, it's real. But it doesn't violate the laws of physics. You're not going to be eating 800 calories and gaining weight on that shit. It is low key. It just gives you crap results that are really hard to detect. For the insane amount of difficulty and BS you have to put up with, you figure shit would go better. For example, let's say that you were running a massive deficit. You're feeling drained of energy. Another minor one that doesn't happen to everyone is your sexual function goes down the drain. You like look at people that are supposed to be attractive and you're like, can I eat that person? Like, oh my God, no. In the colloquial sense, yes. In the real sense, no. Let's say you were in a crazy deficit and you felt all these shit signs, all 6 of them, right? Let's go back one, all 5, except for the body water thing. And you felt all these shit signs, but every few days, new veins and striations would appear. Oh my God, sign me up. I don't give a fuck. I'll run through walls for that shit. But it's a different feeling. When you're suffering the most you've ever suffered in your life from a diet, that one time Stacy broke up with you, that was way worse. 7th grade's a motherfucker. You're suffering like crazy. And every other day you look in the mirror, you look the fucking same, maybe even a little softer. What? For that much BS, I'm going to need some results. So when I'm in starvation mode, quote unquote, it's not a productive mode. You want to get out of it. So first get out of the mode by going to maintenance and probably to a slight surplus for long enough to where you can't feel the signs convincingly. And for weeks, damn it, not like one day, like, oh, I felt good today. Back to the diet. Bullshit. Days if you're within the diet, and if it's between diets, weeks of feeling great. And then you go back again. Then you can go back to efficiently and effectively losing fat again. So is starvation mode a myth? In the most extreme sense, yes. Nobody gains weight on 500 fucking calories unless you're a dog or a child. But in the low-key sense of can you accumulate enough diet fatigue such that shit either isn't going well for you or at least visually looks like it's going not well for you? Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah. And you got to earn it because you got to diet your ass off to get there, but people do it all the time. And when you find yourself there, if you're coming up to a bodybuilding show or a photo shoot that's really important to you, take half a week to a week, maybe longer, of slight hypercaloric, slight surplus days with higher carbohydrates. Take your step count, cut it by half or a third. As much relaxation and sleep as you can get. It'll get you enough out of that phase to finish your diet. You'll be good. But if it's at the very end of a phase, finish the phase, and then don't you dare do 2 weeks of maintenance and go back down into fat loss. You need to do enough maintenance or enough slow bulking to get all those signs to completely go away. Once they do, oh, whatever, you'll gain an extra 3 pounds on your bulk. But then you'll do another diet where you lose 12 pounds. Way worth the effort. If you don't manage to gain those 3 pounds in that maintenance or bulk, and you don't clear your diet fatigue, that next diet ain't going to be 12 pounds. It's going to be 12 days, and then you're going to quit the diet and be like, fuck this, I'm done. And that helps no one. It especially doesn't help the diet industry, which I'm a part of and I make money with. So the RP Diet Coach app is something you could download to help me out. I know that it makes me money when you download it. I'm not so sure what the app does. I think it tells you what to eat and when and lets you pick your favorite foods and auto-regulates everything for you, but that's just me talking out of my ass. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. Questions in the comments. See you next time.